Hey, Brad with BlackOvis here, and I'm up in Bozeman, Montana at the Mystery Ranch HQ with Tim Hoffer, sales manager over the hunting line. And while we had him here, we grabbed him and impromptu made him grab his hunting pack, which he had conveniently laying around. And one question we get often is how to set up a Mystery Ranch pack. A lot of people just getting into Mystery Ranch, how do you lay it out? How do you use the Zoid bags? How do you use this bag? How do you put it all together and pack it the most efficient way possible? So we thought, what better way? Grab Tim, grab his pack, have him walk us through that. And fortunately, he's got pretty much how it was set up this last rifle season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, take it away. Kind of give us a breakdown how you run your pack, how you set it up, what works best for you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, how people set up their packs is a super, personal choice of what you like to carry, the gear, the styles of hunts and things. And I typically carry the same gear for the most part, kind of like your basic like water purification, survival gear, little repair kit, etc. From the beginning of archery antelope in August all the way through the end of the season in November. So the only things I really change out are probably, instead of using, for example, late season, I get away from using bladders because they typically will freeze. No matter how many different types I've tried, they do get a little bit icy, and so I'll switch to just a standard Nalgene for my water, and then obviously puffy layers, etc., or different optics. But for the kind of the standard stuff, this happens to be a Sawtooth. A little bit different version. One good fortune I work in here is I get to test drive different sort of models and things, but this is, in essence, this is the Sawtooth pack, which has been a really great pack for us. From the top down, well, actually, I'll kind of start externally. I do always like to have a forager pocket. That's great for headlamps, spare rounds, food, etc. on my non-dominant side. And then I've got the tech holster, which is where I'll store my phone for navigation, using Onyx, etc. That's been really handy for that. And then for the rifle season, I did have the hands-free rifle sling, using that for the tail end of the season. Obviously, that comes off during bow season. And then just, there's the chest strap for that, and then something to Velcro loop to run the hydration port for early season hunts. If we get into the kind of the business of it, the top pouch, the all-important mountain money, got to have that. Some merino buffs and a few like pieces of headgear, in-reach, bino post for the tripod when I swap that out, headlamp. During the day I'll have obviously food in here a lot of the time too. I want it easy to access so I don't have to get into the main part of the bag, so I'll use that top pouch for that. When we get into kind of the main bag itself, the nice thing about the Sawtooth being that it opens similar to like a duffel bag, it's easy to organize and easy to see things, especially when you're kind of like, posted up for the day, glassing or eating lunch or whatever. So I'll typically have obviously hydration bladder here, totally full, like to stay pretty hydrated throughout the day. In here I've got, in one of these Zoid bags, this is the kill kit. So I've got a handful of game bags, my knife, license, some flagging and paracord. Yep. Also rubber gloves.
Check out the video that we're going to post about game bags as well.
Absolutely.
Tie right into that.
And this is actually, Mr. Ranch, it's called a spiff kit. It was more developed for literally like a DOP kit for traveling. But what I figured out is that it worked really well the way it opens. I've got like knife, I've got 3 spare rounds, first aid kit, easy access into that. I've got tourniquet, I've got spare buckles, you name it. It's kind of like pretty well organized and kitted out.
What was the name of this one again?
This is called the spiff kit.
Okay.
So it comes in different sizes, different fabrics. Like for me, it's just super, compact. Basically, anytime if I swap out bags, if I go from a bigger bag to a smaller bag, this thing always comes with me. So it's cool. Basically a kill kit and kind of like my survival kit, my, it hits the fan kind of kit. These two things are always with me no matter what. And that, like I said, again, it's got everything from like a spare rounds. I think there's a few tools in there for my bow, if I need to tighten stuff down. Side pockets here, I've got just a random bag. This is all my like water filtration. So like a little Sawyer mini filter and some tabs. I even have wood saw, which I've brought and used more than once for like skull capping, spare flagging, and nothing on that side. And then on these interior pockets here, I've got some just different accessory bags. I've got a battery bank for my phone, and I also have a spare headlamp and a few other little bits and pieces that I always take with me. A few calls, predator calls, spare elk calls, earplugs, always handy to have a backup of those. I've made that mistake more than once. Setting up a few rounds of that earplugs in, and not good for the hearing. And then I'm using obviously the 10X Bino harness and the rangefinder holster, and I have this just kind of kitted out, the usual stuff. Wind check, I've got like some spare Havalon blades in there, and then sometimes I'll also slip my license in on the back slot there. Actually, this one I have kind of a small spare knife that I run in that one, and the always important sit pad, can't leave home without it. And that's kind of how I kit this thing out, you know, for normal, like a big day hunt or a quick overnight. You know, obviously I'm going to swap it out with, you know, a bit of shelter or a light sleeping bag. And other than that, that's kind of how I do it.
I run a mystery ranch, but it's more of just all one bag where, yeah, it's really important to run these different types of Zoids in there. But on the Sawtooth here, I mean, you already have great organization right here, kind of on the opening face, plus on the sides. I mean, it's a pretty killer setup with the storage on the top as well. How many days can you do, like overnights? What are you doing with this bag?
I am by no means, you know, I like to try to keep things at a reasonable weight, but I am no like ultralight guy by any means. This is like an overnight setup, like early season, you know, where you can get away with stuffing in, like I might even just do a bivy sack and a really light sleeping bag, and then obviously enough food. I'd carry a small stove. If I know it's just like an overnight, I know I can get away with a lot less. So that'd be about where I'd max out at this. This is for me kind of the, like this bag and the Pintler, I consider to be like that from sun up till sundown bag, regardless of season typically. And you know, externally, you've got stretch woven on the side, so this is where my tripod will go. And then I can, since the zipper is kind of a horseshoe, I orient it like this when I'm opening and closing, because then this is where I'll kind of tuck my spotting scope, is I'll just sit it in here, zip it shut, and I always kind of just orient my zipper this way. It's easy to get it in and out. And you do have the stretch woven sleeve pockets too, which is another great place. If you're pretty loaded, if it's not as loaded, it's nice to put the spotter in here to keep it from kind of sliding around in the bag. If you're fully packed out, it doesn't really matter, but I'll keep it there. And then obviously for face compression, that's where the bow will go, or rifle, if I'm hiking in the dark.
Thanks a ton, man, for laying it out.
Yeah.
Gave me some great ideas. Hopefully gave you guys some good ideas too. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know how you lay out your pack, what you do different, what we're missing in this one. If you got any other requests on bags, we'd love to get them on camera, show you how to lay them out. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned for the next video.